Are you looking for a free 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on Prizepicks.com? If you are, use code DGF on Prizepicks when you are making your deposit, and boom, you get a free 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Guys, it's that easy, it's that simple. If you're looking to try out Prizepicks, if Prizepicks is something that you like, if you randomly searched on this video and it brought you to me, and here you're looking to deposit, I'm your deposit guy. DGF on Prizepicks.com, 100% match up to $100. Boom. You're welcome. I love you guys. Go put that promo in. DGF is the code. What's going on, guys? TJ here with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to bring you, yes, another Prizepick video. Before we jump into today's board, just wanted to go over our results from yesterday. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving out 3 to 4 plays that I like day in and day out on these videos that I'm creating in the morning. And I'm just going to put them together as a 4-pick flex every single day. I'm just going to throw $5 on them just to kind of show the results that we had, see where we missed, see where we looked good. And yesterday, the 4 plays that I focused on were the DeLon Wright over of 32. We had Marvin Bagley over of 32. We had Colin Sexton over of 35. And then we had the LaMelo Ball play over 40. I know some of you got in early. They had LaMelo Ball up there for over 34, which was way too low. But as you can see, we hit 3 of 4. So if you played a flex, you put some money on it. If you listened to the 4 plays, you won. So congrats to anybody that did do that. Pretty good day yesterday. I want to continue, and hopefully today we can have that same type of success. We got a lot of injury news already. We have a 9-game NBA slate on tap, and we already have way more plays on the Prizepicks board than we did yesterday, and obviously because we have more games, so that makes sense. One thing I did want to touch base on, where we did have a comment yesterday on the YouTube video that I put out, is the difference between the DraftKings scoring and the Prizepicks scoring. It is very similar, but there are a couple differences which I do want to point out. Like DraftKings, you get 1 point per raw point, so that makes sense. That is the same. You do not get a 0.5 bonus for a 3-pointer made, so that's one difference. Rebounds on DraftKings are 1.25 points, where rebound on Prizepicks is only 1.2. The assist is the same at 1.5 on each DraftKings and Prizepicks. This is the big one. Blocks and steals on Prizepicks are +3 for each, where DraftKings it's only +2. And then turnovers, another kind of different one. On Prizepicks, you lose a full point for a turnover, whereas on DraftKings you only lose a half of a point. So just want to throw that out there, because I am going to be using my DraftKings scoring, using salaries to kind of gauge who I like on Prizepicks, and I think they do correlate. I think once the dust settles, it all kind of evens out a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure everybody is on the same page here. Make sure everybody knows that what the scoring is, because you don't want to be playing something you don't even know what you're getting points for. So that's up there. If anybody ever needs to figure out where that is, if you go to the NBA slate, you can see the scoring chart, and it's right there. It has every single sport, whatever you're looking for. It's right there in front of you. So let's go ahead and take a look at what injury news we already have, who that's going to affect today, fantasy point per minute wise, usage, whatever, what have you, and then kind of go over the Prizepick board and see if they have anybody that's way too low, especially with the injury news that we currently have. So a big guy over here in Boston obviously is going to be Jaylen Brown, who's out, and then Tristan Thompson, who is questionable, so that's something I'm keeping an eye on. But with JB out, that's a 32 to 33% usage guy that is off the floor there in Boston. I don't really like the matchup. Obviously, the Celtics traveling to Orlando here, 10.5-point road favorites, but if that game stays competitive, there is somebody that I really do like on Boston. Outside of the Celtics, we have obviously the mess that is Houston. Sacramento still without Halliburton, who we just got news last night is out for the season. De'Aaron Fox shouldn't play tonight again. And then Barnes, they have questionable. I think he sits again tonight. I really like that matchup against Indiana. Indiana's been absolutely defensiveless lately, especially with Brogdon so questionable. Obviously, Turner's been out. Jakar Sampson's been out. So that game for Sacramento, I love the target. I know Sacramento off the back-to-back, but there are some plays on Prizepicks that I think are still too cheap, especially given what we saw last night from some of these guys in Sacramento. There's some good plays there in Washington and Milwaukee, obviously. What I think would be probably one of the highest over-unders on the slate, Washington traveling to Milwaukee. We know the pace that Washington loves to play at. And then Denver. We've had Will Barton out. We've had Monty Morris out. Obviously, Jamal Murray's done. And now we have PJ Dozier in the mix. Not too many ball handlers there left for Denver. Obviously, they just did sign Austin Rivers for the rest of the season. But there's somebody else I do want to talk about here. So let's go ahead and dive into our Prizepicks board. I'm going to refresh because, as I said yesterday, they had just been kind of throwing guys in as I was sitting here looking over my plays. So I do want to see if they did add anybody else here. And they already bumped up the Campazzo number. Okay. So let's start at the top. Here's some of the numbers I have. Now, again, I'm correlating this to DraftKings scoring. And I'm doing this based on my DraftKings projections and see how we have similarities just in terms of price in the over-unders that we have on Prizepicks. Or value, excuse me, in the correlation to what we have on Prizepicks. So the first guy I do want to talk about is going to be Jason Tatum. I would have Jason Tatum as a 5.5 value for DraftKings, 55.46 DraftKings points. Now, the numbers that we need to focus on are the usage bump and the fantasy point per minute bump with Jaylen Brown off the floor. Obviously, when I ran my Court IQ, which is a fantastic tool that Roto has, when I ran my Court IQ here for the Celtics, obviously I took off Jaylen Brown, but I also took off Jeff Teague, and I also took off Daniel Tice, who are no longer with the team. So Tatum gets a 4.8% usage bump with no Jaylen Brown, with those three guys off the floor, 1.47 fantasy point per minute, a 36.1% total usage. So I really like JB at that 47.5. Again, the only thing I would be worried about is a potential blowout here, but the Celtics haven't been great. So especially with Jaylen Brown out, I would love to see and expect Tatum to take over this game, especially if it is close, coming down the stretch in the fourth. I love Tatum at 47.5. The only way I think he doesn't hit this is if this game blows out and it is not competitive. So Tatum, 47.5 over for me. Next that I do like, and guys, there's a ton of good plays. Just because I'm not touching base on every single one or giving you the ones I like doesn't mean there aren't other ones out there that you can take. Just want to reiterate that. Like Korkmaz is out. Doesn't really affect too much, but maybe like Seth Curry at 22 could see a couple more minutes. But let's go to the next guy. It's going to be DeLon Wright for me. Absolute animal last night. He went for 60 Prizepicks points, I believe. He was everywhere on the floor. He almost notched a triple-double. It was an absolutely electric game against OKC. So I love the DeLon Wright play again at 33. Fantastic matchup against Indiana. I would have him projected for, and again, this is a little bit of a smaller sample size if you run the numbers with Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, and Harrison Barnes off the floor. But DeLon Wright is a 1.32 fantasy point per minute, and again, he was an animal last night, so I feel like that skews his numbers a little bit because the sample size was only about 97 minutes, so take that number with a grain of salt, but he's a 4.1% usage bump with those three guys off the floor. He should start again. He should see crazy minutes. So the DeLon Wright over-under of 33 on Prizepicks I think is a little bit too low given the injuries that we have and given the minutes that he's going to see against Indiana. Again, this is a back-to-back here for Sacramento, so a little bit iffy, but if they can keep it competitive on the road against Indiana, sign me up with the DeLon Wright over. I honestly like the Buddy Hield over at 36. He shot the ball horribly and still hit the over on Prizepicks. He finished with like 46 DraftKings points. I think he shot like 5 of 15. So if he can knock down a couple shots against a really weak defense, I like the over there on Buddy Hield as kind of a bonus play. Kind of like the Bagley over. The bigs have been absolutely eating at Indiana with no Miles Turner. I know Sabonis is back, but still, Bagley with a projected 34. I wouldn't mind taking that either. I haven't projected for 30.5 DraftKings points. And again, it's a smaller sample size. He didn't really play too well last night. He was the only guy out of our 4 that we picked that didn't hit the over. But if I'm taking anybody here, DeLon Wright over 33, that would be my play with Tatum. And then moving down to the last guy I do want to talk about is going to be Campazzo. Honestly, if they didn't sign Austin Rivers, he would really be the only ball handler that they have in Denver because all their guards are out. But we have him as an over-under of 28. It's a little bit of a slower matchup here in terms of pace against the Knicks, but we have Campazzo with a 1.7% usage bump with no Monty Morris, no Jamal Murray, No Dozier on the floor, and no Will Barton as well. 0.89 fantasy points per minute, so nothing crazy, and a little bit of a, his usage is never too high. 13.7%, but even still, I have him projected for 32.6 DraftKings points. I think that does correlate a little bit to the Prizepicks scoring, like we've talked about. So we have an over/under right now for Campazzo at 28. I like the over on Campazzo. So guys, those would be my 3 plays for today. Hopefully you took the 4 from yesterday. Again, my 3 for today are going to be the Tatum over of 47.5. It's going to be DeLon Wright over 33. And it is going to be Campazzo over 28. Those are the 3 guys that I like. And as a bonus, I would be going with one of these Sacramento guys, and Buddy Hield and Bagley. So that's it. That's the prize pick video for today. And with all that being said, guys, enjoy your day and let's cash.